Okay, page 7. I just wanted to show you what it will look like. We've got these flaps opening like that. We've got a double pocket here, and that opens up, and then this whole part opens up, and then we've got this little placeholder with a magnet, and then these 4 smaller flaps that open like that. I know it's hard to see in the black, but just to give you a bit of an overview. Alright, so let's go with the pieces you will need here. Your measurements are as follows. We have got piece A, which is 7.5 by 8. B is 7.5 by 5 3/4. You need 2 C pieces, and they are 4 3/4 by 6.5. Your D piece is 6.5 by 9. Your E piece is a hinge, so it's 1 inch by 5 1/8. You will need 4 F pieces, and they measure 3 5/8 by 5 3/8, and 1 G piece, which will measure 4.5 by 6.5. Come on, buddy. So get your scoreboard out, and we will start scoring. Okay, piece A, put it in your scoreboard on the 8-inch side and score it at half. B will be also scored at half on the 5 3/4 inch side. C, both of your C pieces will be scored at half on the 4 3/4 inch side. Okay. D will be scored at half. And 5 3/4 along the 6 1/4 inch side. Okay, so half, 5 3/4 on the 6 1/4 inch side. Then you're going to turn it 90 degrees, and you're going to score again at 3.5. So now it's on the 9-inch side, and you're scoring it at 3.5. Okay. Your E piece is a hinge, so we're going to score it right down the middle along the 1 inch, so score it in half. And all of your F pieces will be scored at half along the 5 3/8 inch side. So all 4 of those at half. And the last one. Okay, and the G piece does not get scored at all. Okay, you can put your scoreboard away, and we will start adding some score tape. Okay, so apply score tape to all those 1/2 inch sections. Making sure you do not go over the score line, and we're applying the score tape on the valley side. I don't know if you can see that. That's the indented side E. Okay, leave D alone for just a second because we're going to do something special with that, but we can do the rest of them. Here's your C pieces. And your B. And A. Okay, for D, you're going to put score tape on the longer half-inch section on each side. Okay, and then we're going to flip it over, and I know we're breaking a rule here, but we're going to put the score tape on the mountain side of the short sections. And now you need to cut in right where those score lines meet. So at that 3.5 inch section, you're just going to cut along the score line just till you reach that 1/2 inch. Okay, so you've just got this. That little bit and that little bit are cut. And now cut at an angle like that, so you get this little divot out of it. Okay, so do that on both sides. So you have this little divot kind of thing on each side. Okay, and now we are going to miter all of our corners. So cutting at an angle up to each of the 1/2 inch score lines. And all the rest of them are just straightforward. And your hinge, fold that first and then cut. That way I find it easier. That way you know that they're even. Okay, last 2 F pieces here. Okay, now get all of those little bits out of the way and we'll start putting it all together. Okay, fold on all of your score lines and crease them all with your bone folder. I really am trying to remember to use the bone folder and to do this properly. It really is good practice. It creases the fold and it also makes sure there's no bubbles or anything in your score tape. Okay, for D, when you're folding, the long ones, the long sides, will be going back. And we're breaking a rule here. And these ones are going in. So I know I'm breaking the rule, but that's what's happening. And then this fold will go up like that. Is that right? Nope, that's right. So you've got this part is going to be attaching to itself here, and then this part is going to be going onto the page. Okay, so I hope that made sense. You've got the long ones going back, the short ones going forward, and this going up. Okay, and the last one, and then we'll bring in our last base page, and we will start adhering things. Okay, so here's your base page, openings to the left and the right. Piece A is going to be adhered to the right of your base page. And piece B is going to be adhered to the left of your base page. Okay, and now with them closed, so you've got B over top of A, take your two C pieces and line the first one. You're going to have them centered top to bottom. One of them is going to be up against where B closes, but not so, it has to have a little tiny bit of space so that it still opens properly. Okay, but you want it to be fairly close. All right. So with B in the closed position, you're adhering this onto A, centered top to bottom, butted right up against B. Okay, and then your other C piece is going to go right to the edge of A, and you're going to center it with your other C piece. So now you've got two C pieces that open like that. Your B opens like that, and this is your A flap. Okay? Alright, so now D, you're going to remove the score tape from the shorter halves. And fold it up so that you create your first pocket. Alright, and now this will adhere onto B. However, right now, tags would just slide right through. So we're going to use that E hinge so that that doesn't happen. So remove one half of the backing from E. Make sure that the hinge opening is up, and you are going to attach it right down to the bottom of D here. Okay, so now it should look like this. You've got these two flaps here on D, and then your E right here. Okay, and now we're going to close this up and adhere it down. So I like to do the sides first, so remove the backing from the sides. And push the bottom E part up and remove the backing from that. D will adhere right down to the bottom of your B piece. So now you've got one pocket and two pockets, and it still opens up. And now we are going to open the whole thing, and we are going to add our 4 F pieces, and they are going to sit just like this. So one in each corner, all opening out. Okay, so first one, go in the top left corner. Second one in the top right corner. Third one in the bottom left corner. And the fourth one in the bottom right corner. So now you've got 4 flaps doing that. Now we're going to take a marker or something that will make a mark and put a dot right in the center of all 4 of those. There should be space enough to just make a tiny little dot. And then open these up and place a little bit of score tape right where that dot is. And remove the backing. And place 1 magnet. And then close these back up again. And place another magnet on top. Let it affix to its counterpart there. And put another tiny piece of score tape on it. And remove the backing. That's a little bit excess score tape there. Okay, and now your G piece, try to just place it down centered, and that will adhere that magnet to G, because it's basically just going to hold all of those F pieces down. Alright, and now we can add the rest of our magnets. We need magnets to close up our C piece. So place some score tape. Right. About, a little more than a ½ inch, somewhere around there. It doesn't have to be exact. Place 2 magnets. And another little piece of score tape. Remove the backing from that and close it up. So now your C pieces are closed, and now we just want to close this flap onto A. So I'm going to do 2 magnets on this one, 2 spots. So one up here. And one down here somewhere. Okay, 2 magnets on each of those. Two more little pieces of score tape here. remove the backing. Why do I always have such trouble? There we go. And close it up. There you go. Now we just have to add our pattern paper, so I'm going to ink all mine up, and I'll be right back to add the pattern paper with you. Alright, start adding this pattern paper here. We are matching page 6, so we are going with the black and white theme. So on the front of the page, let me get my ruler out here. Okay, so this bottom piece here is 5 by 3 and 3 1/4. Okay, the next one above it is just sinking into the pocket a little bit. I believe it's the same size, yeah. So it's the same size. I'm just using the other pattern on the back. Alright, so just kind of slip it in there. That, and then this top one is 2 1/4 by 5, just over 5, 5 1/8. I'm not sure why it's slightly, oh no, it's the same. So I guess those other pieces are 5 1/8. What did I say? The pattern paper, I mean, you can, some people like more of a border of black showing, some people like less, so you don't have to follow my measurements exactly. You can kind of go with what you feel. Just measure the area you want to cover and make it a tiny bit smaller. On the C piece, I'm using one of the ephemera cards, so see on this one I've got more of a black border. And then on the inside I've got some of that plain kind of beige cardstock, and these 3 pieces will measure 4 by 6 1/4. So they're pretty much perfect for 4 by 6 photos. You might want to trim the one edge just slightly. And then one more here. Okay, and then this inside piece measures 4 5/8 by 7 3/8. Alright, so that's all the front done. Now we'll open it up. So this piece is just to cover the magnets here. So it is 2.5 by just a smidge over 7.25. Okay, and then on the inside, so this piece over here measures 5 by 7.125. Okay, the piece on this side is 7.25 by 7.25. Yeah, it should be because it's a square. And then in the center, so for your G piece it's sitting on top, the two pieces you'll need measure 4.25 by 6.25. And on the other side I've just got an ephemera card. And then you'll need 8 pieces for these little flaps, and they measure 4.5 by 3 3/8. So you'll need 8 of those. Okay, the pieces you will need for page 8 are as follows. Piece A is 10 inches by 5 5/8. B is 7 inches by 10 3/4. C, 7 by 10. D, you're going to need 3 of them, and they are 6.5 by 11. You're also going to need 3 of your E pieces, and they are 6.5 by 2. And 2 F pieces, and they are 4.5 by 11. Okay, I know it's a lot of pieces, but it's really not that difficult to put together. So, we'll get your scoring board out as per usual. Piece A you will score at 1/2 and at 5/8. Hi, buddy. Can Mama work? So 5/8 is the next tick over. So 1/2 and 5/8, that's A. You're sitting on the pieces that I need. piece B. Buddy. Okay, I might have to take a break and have some cuddle time because he's not going to leave me alone. Okay, sorry about that. When it's snuggle time, there is nothing that's going to hold him back. Okay, piece B will be scored at, put it in your scoreboard on the 10 3/4 inch side, score it at 1/2 and 10 1/4. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and we're going to score at 3 1/2 along the 7 inch side. Okay, and now piece C. Put it in your scoreboard on the 7 inch side and we're going to score at 1/2 and then your D pieces, all 3 of them, will be scored at, put it in their scoreboard on the 11 inch side, and all 3 of them will be scored at 4 1/4, 4 1/4, 8 1/2, and 8 5/8. So the next tick over. Okay, and then do that to all 3 of them. Alright, your E pieces will become large hinges. So we're going to score them at 1 inch along the 2 inch side. And your F pieces will be scored at 3/4, 3/4, and 7 1/4 along the 11 inch side. 3/4 and 7 1/4 along the 11 inch side. And 7 1/4. Okay, you're done with your scoring. Put this away. Alright, now we're going to add our score tape to all of the 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch and inch sections. We've got a few this time, different sizes. So I'm using a slightly wider score tape for the ones that are over 1/2 inch. If you don't have a wider score tape, that's totally fine. What you can do is do a couple lines of the score tape instead of just one. I'm going to do 1/2 inch here, and then I'm going to do 1/4 inch. Now these hinges are a little bit wider because I wanted more space in between what they're going to be attached to, and I just wanted them to be really strong and have a really good bond onto the paper, so I wanted there to be a little bit more part attached to give it a really good secure bond. Does that make sense? Last hinge, and we are putting the score tape on the valley side of our score marks. So you're looking at the indent while you put your score tape on. There are your E hinges. Your D pieces do not get any score tape. And C is just a regular 1/2 inch. B, just put it all the way along that 1/2 inch on either side. And A, make sure you do not go over that score line. There's no score tape on the 5/8 of an inch. No, is it 5/8? Yeah, 5/8. So you've got it up to the first score line, leaving a little bit of space, but nothing over that second score line. Okay, bring your base page in. So it's going to be the back side of this one, so flip it over. And we will start by adhering piece A to the very bottom of your base page. So I guess first let's fold on all of our score lines. So move that again. Oh, I forgot to miter all the corners. Sorry, back up a step, folks. Let's miter them corners. I forgot about it. Getting ahead of myself. Okay. You're probably already being like, hey lady, you forgot something. We know the drill by now. You are not going in order. Alright, so now we've got things mitered. Now let's fold on all the score lines, and then we will start putting things together. Okay, bone folder, crease everything. Make sure, I know these are kind of fiddly, these little 1/8 of an inch little bends, but they are necessary to have really smooth folds over everything. Okay, so I'll finish creasing all my score lines and I'll be right back. Now that you have all, oh, I forgot to miter the corners on A. Now that you have everything mitered, hopefully, and all of your folds creased and burnished with your bone folder, we're going to begin putting it together. Take piece A, remove the tape backing, and it is going to go right on the bottom of your base page. And now B, we are going to remove this tiny little bottom bit. So we're going to cut in just to the 1/2 inch score line, and you're going to remove, cut along the score line and just remove that one little section. Oh, I'm just going to do that a little bit straighter. Okay, so you'll have something that looks like that, and then just re-miter that one corner. And now on the other side, I want you to cut in just to the 1/2 inch score line, and then cut at an angle, so you're basically just re-mitering it. So you'll have something, a little notch that looks like that. Okay, so this 1/2 inch section is gone, and a little notch out of there is gone. Okay, now fold these two in, and we're going to bring them up and adhere them like that. Okay. So we're creating a pocket. Oh, okay. In the instructions, I have this going towards the right, which means I have the score tape on the wrong side. I'd planned on doing it to the left. Well, I suppose you could go either way, but since I have that way in the instructions, we're going to do it that way. I wrote it quite a while ago and I'm redoing it, and guess my memory isn't what it was. So we are breaking a rule. Again, it's the second time in one tutorial that I'm breaking a rule. Hoo-wee! I'm a rebel. Rebel right here. Alright, so we are attaching this to the very right side. It'll be on top. Oh no, open up A first. It's going to go right on top of your base page on the right. And that's why we need that extra little gusset on A, so it will go over this pocket. Okay, so this is a pocket, but it also opens this way. And don't worry about this because it will get covered with pattern paper. Okay, now your C piece is going to adhere to the top of your base page. Just like that. Okay, now get your D and your E pieces out, and this is where we need the hinges. So you've got your D piece with the short flap on the top, and now we are going to attach our E pieces to the back, okay, with the opening like that. Alright, so the opening is facing in so that it will be able to open like that. So remove the backing just from half of your E hinge, and it's going, so you've got the short flap. The short flap is right here on top, and the hinge is going to go open right here at the back, okay? Alright, so the hinge is here, and it opens like that. So there's the hinge. Okay, so do that to all three of your DE pieces. I've already done my other two just to save a little bit of time. Alright, and your first one, remove the, once you've got all three of those hinges attached to your D pieces, then remove the backing from the other half of the hinge, and it is going to go right on the left side of C. Okay, so there it is. And now you're going to take your second one, and we're kind of going to waterfall them. So remove the backing, tape backing from the second one, and it is going to go onto C, butted right up against where the hinge from the last one stops. Okay, so there's the edge of the hinge, and that's where this one will go. And then we're going to do it one more time. There's the edge of the hinge, so this is right where your third one will go. Alright, and there we have it. So there's your 3 DE pieces. And now open those up and get your last 2 pieces, your F pieces. And they're basically going to do the same thing. So you're going to center the first one up and down, center it up and down onto C, right on the right hand side. You can measure it if you like. I'm just going to eyeball it. And then open that one up. And then the last one, the second one, is going to do the same thing. It's going to butt right up against where that last hinge was. Try and get it even in the same spot as the last one. And there you go. And now we just need to add some magnets. Alright, so this page takes a lot of magnets. There has to be at least one, right? So we will begin, open it all up, and you're going to have a magnet attaching your pocket to the base page. So let's begin with that one. One little piece of score tape somewhere on the edge over here. 2 magnets. Another piece of score tape. And close it up. Okay, there's the first one. And then close your A flap, and we're going to put magnets closing your C, this whole thing, down to A. Okay, so place a magnet or 2. You could use 2 if you like. I think I'm just going to use the 1. I think that should be enough. So 2 magnets. These magnets are pretty darn strong, so. And another piece of score tape. And fold that one down. So that's locked down now. And then the first, so we'll need to, this little flap will need a magnet. Oh, that's only one. One more. Okay, so that's closed. And now we're going to put a magnet closing this one to this one. So we want to make sure that it's not showing, even though we'll have pattern paper, I suppose, so it doesn't really matter. So somewhere around there. 2 magnets. 2 or 3? 2. Close that one up. Okay. Now we'll do the same with this one. There we go. And now this one down to here. So your third DE section down to the top F section. And then these 2 sections together. You can actually save a magnet. See, I've already got this one magnet here. So you can let one single magnet adhere to its counterpart on the other side. Add some score tape. And that way that magnet is kind of doing double duty. And then we also need the last one going from your second F piece down to C. This is the last set of magnets. And then everything is definitely locked down. All right. There we go. Everything is nicely magnetized, and now I'm just going to ink up all my pattern paper, and I'll be right back to add it with you. Okay, there are a lot of pieces to adhere to this, so let's get started. Zuri, come on. Alright, on the front there is going to be 6 pieces that measure 2 1/4 by 6. Alright, a little bit of the pattern paper is already on here because I didn't realize the camera was not recording. So I've got a few pieces, but we'll do the rest together. So we need 6 of these pieces. I think I already went over the measurements, but I'll do it again. 2 1/4 by, I've got them at 6. You could probably go with 6 1/4. I just didn't have a long enough piece of paper. Alright, and then, so you need 1 for each side. I'm leaving these blank because they're perfect for a 4 by 6 photo. Alright, so I've got that. Got the green. This little strip in between is just shy of an inch. What do we got? Closer to 3/4 of an inch by 6 1/4. And this is the same thing there. Okay. And now we'll do the rest. Alright, so this is going on the inside. And this is going right there. Did I give the measurements for these ones? These are 4 by 6 1/4. And a little strip. And this one on the outside. So I've kind of alternated, like when these are all closed, so I alternated the color scheme, so the orange here and the patterned here, patterned and then orange and then patterned, so that when it's closed it kind of looks all cohesive. And then green over here. Come on, work with me here. Alright, now over here, so what do we have? We have 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then did I not have a piece for this? Oh, I don't have a piece for this one either. Or do I? No, I don't. Okay. Let's quick just find a piece for that. It will measure 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. Alright, I think I'm going to use an ephemera card, and I know there's a big black border around it, but I'm okay with that. I'm starting to run out of paper. I want to make sure I have enough for the inside covers, so I'm going to do this. You can either use an ephemera card and double mat it, or you could just use patterned paper. I seem to be running low, so I'm going to do this. Alright, and then on the inside. And so this one is the same measurements as the front piece. And this one is a little bit short, so I've got a border strip that I'm also going to add onto it. Right down at the bottom there. And then over here. the little strip in between the pieces is 5/8 of an inch by 4 1/4. I think I'll just use one strip of score tape for this one. Okay. I think the ephemera cards are probably my favorite part of this whole collection, actually. Okay. And another little border strip. Okay, and now this one I'm going to put right in the center, like that. And then, oops, sorry. And then I'm going to have 2 green border strips going all the way across. This piece, measurements, just shy of 7, like 6 7/8 by 4, almost 4 1/2, like 4 3/8. Okay, and then we'll put these 2 border strips down. Alright, I'm going with the 7/8 of an inch by 7 3/4 as opposed to 7 1/2. I like that better. Alright, so that is done. And these are done. Now we open the whole thing up. Okay, and I did put the pattern paper on some of this already, so we've just got green up there. I think I might put an ephemera card or something just to break it up. Down here, I've got a piece of orange with part of an ephemera card and some border strips. If you wanted to do it as a solid piece, it would be 9 3/4 by 4 3/4. This one up here would be 9 3/4 by 6 1/4. Alright, and then down here, it's the same size, 9 3/4 by 4 1/4, is that what I said? And then we've got the pocket. So the pocket piece is 3 by 9 1/2. So we'll put that on. And then I'm going to see at the end what I have left, and that's pretty much what's going to go in this pocket. It'll probably just be a few ephemera cards. Okay, and this pocket opens up, and we've got the orange on this side, and then this big piece here is, should be 9 3/4 by 7 1/4. Alright, so this is our last piece of pattern paper. Just want to make sure that I cover up that score tape down here. All right. There you have it, folks. Those are all the pages for the mini album completed. And now we will work on the binding system and the cover.